Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, December 27th, and this is Morning Market Movers, where we do live analysis for day trading, take a look at hot spots in the markets for today. I'm Todd Rich with Nadex. With me, Brian Caprice from Keep Trading Simple. Yes, we are going to do these this week, even though we had scheduled to be away this week. Uh, you know, plans change. So we'll get on in in the mornings, and we'll take a look at what's going on each day, and take a look at for potential hotspots. Today, I know that we're going to be looking at what's going on in the commodities markets with some interesting moves, particularly in natural gas. But we'll take a peek over at oil as well as the metals, and then equities. Equities all looking open and higher. Got some good news out there with at least, I guess, as good as it can be with Russia backing their troops out off the Ukraine border. But then we've got all this Omicron stuff that really is kind of stacking up. Anyhow, before Brian and I get into it, I do need to share the disclaimer that trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for everyone. That any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. And this is an educational session. Please do not consider anything Brian or I say as a buy or sell recommendation. We're going to do this for your education purposes only. Yeah, we were just taking a peek around. I thought the only chart I'll quickly show you, at least when it comes to the commodities, and we'll be taking a look. This nat gas one is just kind of is a cuckoo crazy chart. Oh, and I
Oh yeah, you can't even see it on yours. It's not as good on yours.
It's not as good on mine. I'm gonna hear. You know what?
Let me flip doesn't draw it as well.
No, I'm gonna give it to because we had the rollover, and then the chain we gapped. We gap higher, fairly significant gap higher.
Very strange. I mean, from the 23rd all the way up top. We ended up tagging the upper side of that range right around the $4 mark, the $3.98 mark, and then literally all it did was kind of roll back down again. Fortunately, it didn't fill the gap. That kind of gap fill came in right about here. This is where the entry should have been for anybody going long. So it kind of missed it a little bit there, but it is interesting. Like right around this 380 market, it's an area where we've kind of seen some stabilization on this side. It was kind of in the pullback short, and then it really did a lot of stabilizing and has come back again. So I'm curious if this is going to be a new area for this week that we need to watch out for. But right now, as you saw, I've removed the fibs, but it's kind of sitting, from high to low from last week, we're kind of sitting more or less right in the middle area. If we shrink our fibs to kind of what we saw in the overnight, you can see right now going to the U.S. session, we're sitting at a 61.8. So it is an interesting an interesting place to be to start the U.S. session, on the 27th today. Obviously, this is going to be a lighter volume week as well. Do you know, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? It was like 60 degrees here. So we definitely did not have a white Christmas. It was to the point where my wife was like, hey, I feel like we should open the windows, just, blow some of that air out and stuff. It was that warm here. So
the Chicago Bears played in the snow. Of course, they had to go to Seattle to play in the snow because
Seattle. Yeah, well, I'll say my
here in the Chicago.
Yeah, my in-laws did have a white Christmas. They're in Vancouver. So I was like, no, it's like hot. We put the baby in like a onesie and long sleeves because I don't know. He was happy that way. We got him all like the cute flannel lumberjack looking outfits and everything. My wife got us all like matching pajamas, like flannel pajamas. And she was like, my God, I'm having like hot flashes. Like, I got to take this pajama shirt off. It's too hot. It's flannel on Christmas. Who would guess it? So yeah, so natural gas has really been kind of like almost like a spring bouncing back and forth again. So I don't know that I would take it at the 61.8 though. Just for the open today, I think I'd wait till it gets a little bit higher. I think because of the low volume this week, if we can get back up and really, I mean, even kind of seeing this little hiccup here right around this 395-ish mark, I think that would be a decent way to get short. Again, what we've seen lately back and forth is really messing with this 405 and really 360. We've seen it kind of, back and forth, running between these two sides in this channel. And, again, being higher on the side here, seeing that, hey, listen, it wasn't necessarily as bad as what we thought. Again, that could lead to a big rollover. And like I said, this is the most volatile kind of asset that we have on the board right now, and it's up 4.4%. And you can see it was even higher before coming crashing down. So if you're looking for volatility, this would be the day that, or this would be the asset you play. Oil, a lot more kind of muted. It is starting to move a little bit now. Again, as U.S. traders come online, very expected. As you guys know, typically the U.S. session is where oil typically moves, and in most cases, it moves up. You can see last week, same thing. The last actually, 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row, oil went straight up basically all last week. So with oil being up here at the 73 mark, it's a very interesting level. As Todd mentioned, some of the news from this weekend definitely could be affecting oil. One, thousands of Russian troops are leaving the UK border, and they announced that on Saturday, so it's a couple days. But I do know that I guess I heard yesterday the Ukraine was running some military drills or whatever, and I was like, oh, this is going to be great. They're running on one side, Russia's running on the other. It just takes one guy to
do something stupid or an accident.
Yeah. Oh, I heard a firecracker. No, it's gunfire. That's it. Shoot everything. It goes from there. But again, de-escalation of a geopolitical event that technically should be positive for oil. Flip it around the other side, you can see that COVID hit Xi'an Titans measures as China sees a 21-month case record. You don't really see bad news out of China that often. When you start hearing about a 21-month record in China, again, they were bottling it up. It was like, how do they have no cases? So now that you're seeing it there as well, again, kind of one of those interesting. So you get one positive, one negative as far as COVID goes. And this weekend we saw, I was like 2,500 flights were canceled on Christmas. It was 700 yesterday due to, basically Omicron exposure, and it just seems like it's kind of snowballing. This morning we got some.
It's taking out the flight crews, so everyone's
set to
go, but they have
flight
to have
crews,
a flight crew,
nurses. Yeah, flight crews, nurses, and if teachers were in school right now, I'd be taking teachers out too. So it's basically taking out the infrastructure of most of the things what we do. And there was actually news this morning. Last week it was great positive news. Pfizer had a pill. It was like, yes, Pfizer and Merck both got approved. You can take this. It reduces hospitalizations by 90%. That would relieve all the pressure. And then today there's drug interactions that we need to watch out for. And the drug interactions just happen to be blood thinners, statins, which basically everybody over 50 is on. And then depressants. So I'm like, wow, we're just hitting it across the board, right?
I think
depression,
all those
COVID. So
you're over 50,
drug interactions,
you're on all of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, drug interactions are extremely common. In another life, I was in pharma for a number of years, so it's very, very common. You have to deal with it. It just means more monitoring. But at the end of the day, it was kind of like, oh, this is it. This is the silver bullet or the golden bullet here. We're good. And now there's like, but there's this, but. Again, positive. Everything is fair balance. Moderna this weekend said that they could have within the next few weeks, they are going to have a booster for Omicron specifically. That will be, for Omicron. Like I said, I don't know what they're doing in Israel or what planet they think that they're on, but they're in 4 shots. They're introducing a Moderna Omicron booster in Israel. I don't know what's going on over there, but they got mad scientists over there. So they are just going, they are leading the world right now in the charge. So, and besides that, that's it. I mean, that's really the news that we have. The only currency moving at all right now is the pound.
Let's just jump over to the charts because we do see, the troops moving off the border. Okay, so that's supposed to take some of the pressure off of oil. We did see oil gap lower, and as we speak, it's as soon as we came on, literally as soon as we came on, it's spiking higher.
Let's say the 8:30 window is 8:30 is when the technically the futures traders will start coming online, and again 8 o'clock is when it started to move. You can say European session very, very small, didn't move. Big question, at least in oil today, is can we get through this level up top? That price level is going to be sitting at approximately, I'd say around that 73, 72 mark. And again, this goes back to, I don't have a crystal ball, but the last time the price was here, again, the last trading day, right before Christmas, there was a gap to the downside. So there was something that let it down. Again, all the shutdowns, everything like that, not good for oil. But again, easing tensions with Russia is also a good thing. If they're at the bargaining table, that's important because in less than 1 week, actually, I guess 1 week from today, OPEC Plus is meeting to determine the future of oil or the cuts or reductions or whatever. So if Russia's now playing nice, maybe we will get the inflation relief in the energy. So it's a very interesting play. And again, being early in the week, this is one of you guys take those weekly positions. To start looking for bigger trends. And let's say be cautious. I mean, we are sitting on the high side, right? But we know that just recently we can see that oil was obviously much higher.
Yeah, it was up
all the way
80.
up into the 86s. 86, right? 85.39. So being at 73, this is nothing. So obviously low volume week. A lot of traders are out of the market right now, and this is a week that there can be some major moves. Even thus far, I mean, starting the day off again with the oil burst. VIX is already kind of it gapped higher and then started to pull back down again as it's starting to fall back to where it closed on Friday at 18. The indices are already starting to take off. The NQ is already up 0.5%, and we're 40 minutes before the open starts today. Apple and Tesla are both showing that they're basically gapping higher and starting to ride. So
yeah, do you we mentioned we were going to take a quick peek at Nat Gas. Or did we do Nat Gas? I don't know if you wanted to do any more on Nat Gas, because then let's do the equities. Let's take a look at where we're going to open in the equities.
Like I said, VIX being down, right, starting to fall. You have Apple and Tesla both gapping higher. So NQ is leading the pack right now at 0.5% higher. So we mentioned last week we had the 16,358, and it's a level we kind of bounced off of it twice. Although, again, late on the 23rd, you're not trading this one. And then again, last night it bounced off of it one more time. I would say today, 16,500 is definitely within range. Question is, will we have a big enough mover today? I think possibly. Again, talking about how things are progressed over the weekend. Like I said, I know there was a lot of record cases. If we start seeing a reduction in the amount of cases over the last couple of days, even though it may be because places were closed, those could all be positive signs. And again, talking about Russia pulling away. So NQ looks like it has ability to run. I would say look for a hiccup. And again, we've seen a hiccup last time we were here. This is what it looked like on the 30-minute, a one candle top, and then really kind of a downward fall very, very fast. That level's coming in at 16,434. So any type of long targets, I would say we got about 70 points higher on the NQ to go. Yes, you can see kind of the same thing. We bounced off one of those psychological levels at 47.25. It's now rallying, and we know we have a hiccup at 47.38, but 47.50 would be the upside target for, I'd say, today. YM, kind of the same idea.
Look almost identical, don't they?
Yeah, they're all pretty much the same. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, right? Same thing with Dow. Dow ended up hitting that 36,000 or the 35. Was it 35,900? Came back down, grabbed the buyers at 35,800. Isn't it crazy? Literally, it's bouncing off those 100 marks, and then it's rallied back up again. And I would say 36,000. I said last week, I think we can make it, and it turned. Unfortunately, it tried its best, and then stalled right. Literally, we ended right here. We got so close. And now we're trying again. So I think 36,000 today. Right now, I would say the Dow is the weakest. It's only at 0.23. The Russell is even ahead of it. With it rallying, if it continues to get drug higher, this would be the first one. Again, this would be the first guy to kind of make that big milestone up there at 36,000. And then Russell, the Russell and the Dow are basically exactly the same. The hiccup, the bounce, and the go. The hiccup, the bounce, and the go. So, and again, Russell was 2250 is what we're looking for today. And that's actually pretty close. So overall, it looks like it's going to be a positive morning. I guess it can turn nasty really, really fast. But for the most part, everything's, people are feeling good today. Like I said, huge vacation week, extremely low volume. It's not hard to kind of move the market this week on any type of a news headline.
But right now, it is kind of looking to. It looks like they want to continue to extend the Santa Claus rally into the end of the year. It's kind of the feel for things.
Yeah, and bonds are considered, bonds are not really rallying. Bonds are low right now. The cryptos are getting a little bit of help right now as well. So, everything seems to be positive for the most part out there. Last week we had that day where it was all red, and silver's about the only thing that is red right now as far as the big assets go. And you can see that it is literally spiking at 8:30. It's coming right back up to that 23 level. So, from where its gap was this weekend. So, even silver, who's down 0.5%, is now rallying. And same thing, gold also catching a bid.
Yeah, everyone stepped in here this morning, and it's like it just drifted lower overnight. Gap lower, drifted lower, and now buyers are showing up. So it will make for an interesting trading day today. And then I don't think there's any big news this week scheduled.
Nope. So. Nope. If you go low, you can see that there. There's what's considered low quality news, but nothing in here. Trade balances, inventories. Jim Han had their unemployment rate was unchanged today. The only thing that comes up at all, obviously besides crude oil, is the Swiss economic barometer on Thursday. Besides that, there's nothing really. Unemployment claims supposed to be the exact same as what they were last week, 200,000 for the United States. Chinese manufacturing maybe on Thursday evening. Because it's predicted to be at 50. Remember, 50 and above is expansion. Below that is contraction. So being right at 50, there's a potential that manufacturing PMI could go down a little bit. But for the most part, no. This is the last week of the year. It's always low. The only headlines that I saw out there that are kind of interesting to look at was inventories of U.S. sales, of new U.S. home sales, are the highest since 2008. but
Mm.
it's the worst spike in construction in 50 years. So whenever you hear 2008 in homes, you should kind of take note and be like, wait a second, what? What? So again, inventories being very, very high isn't necessarily the best sign, right? When inventories are high, we're also in a rate, we know that interest rates are going to be going higher soon. People tend not to buy or refi houses when interest rates are going up. They can tend to do it beforehand where they can lock in low rates.
Although,
Kind of
I will say this: rates are still low historically speaking.
mm,
Even though we've come
yeah,
off of the bottom, you're still in the
yeah.
3%, 3.5%. It's
hmm
still historically extremely low. Anything
Well,
under
yes,
4%
you're
is
showing
dirt
your age,
cheap.
Todd. You're showing your age. As a first time, I mean,
Well,
if someone is a first time home buyer now and they're in their 30s, they're looking at this and going, "Oh my God, the rates are high." You know,
yeah, well, because they wanted to get, oh, I could have gotten it down at two and
two and
three
a half,
quarters.
yeah, something like
Um,
that. Yeah,
yeah, they have to realize that historically speaking, the rates
yep,
on those is usually 6, 7%.
yeah,
And when my first mortgage was actually in the teens, like
yeah.
13%.
Yeah, I think my
So,
parents was like 19, 18, 19, and they thought that was a steal.
and that's right. So
Right.
I think everyone has to put things a little bit more in
Mm.
perspective. Um, Yeah, so really, yeah, not a lot. We do have the oil inventory and the nat gas
That's
inventory levels later.
Yeah, I
So
would say that's probably the biggest all week that we're going to see. The only, I mean, as far as economic releases, the only risk that I see this week is really going to be COVID related. And again, Australia recorded their first Omicron death. China's tightening. So, again, like I said, I know Maryland, we have hospitals now that are technically in emergency mode because the staff number, because the bed total has gone over. But
I think
that's
when we
to
put
be
it in
expected at this
perspective, it
point.
is definitely it's going to spread rampantly. It's going to
hmm
go all over the place. It's still the mortality because so many people are vaccinated now. It appears the mortality rates, or it could be that it's just weaker. But I think it probably has
It's
to do with
weaker.
the fact
Yeah,
that so
we
many
haven't seen.
people
Yeah, they haven't seen an increase in either
are
yet
vaccinated.
thus far.
So if for the fully vaccinated, I think the concerns here are: do we jam up the hospitals, um, and do we crush the system
Yep.
for people being able to get treated because they're coming in
Yep.
sick, and you have fewer and fewer staff because they're getting sick, just like we're
Mm.
seeing airlines right now. It's you have to staff an airline, and if somebody
Right.
gets sick, they can't you know, whether it's a flight attendant
Mhm.
or one of the pilots, you got a problem, or even the people working in the background. So
And I think that's probably what the story of the week is going to be. So again, when you guys are looking for headlines out there, and think about it, it's going to be all the support structures of everything. If you think about it, I mean,
yeah,
people are not working really this week, so it's not that's not who we're going to see it. We're going to see it at hospitals. It's going to basically be service workers. We're going to see it at hospitals. Then we're going to start hearing about firefighters and police officers because there's not enough people to staff those things.
right,
Obviously, airline pilots. As soon as teachers go back as well, if we haven't kind of peaked and already came back down because everybody has COVID at Christmas, then it'll be the same thing that we're running out of teachers. We don't have substitutes. I know, again, because I had done some work with the school system, I've gotten like 6 or 7 emails already. Like, hey, we're expecting a lot of vacancies. Is there any way you can help us out in the first week? And I'm like, no, I'd love to help, but no, you know,
but
um,
yeah,
yeah, no, yeah. I have two. Actually, 2 kids on the lacrosse team got COVID, and they said, "Yep, we got it from the teacher." I was like, "Oh, lovely." I was like, "That's not what you want from your teacher." So, yeah, COVID
hey,
Christmas for all. But yeah, so guys, drop it down to your 15 minutes. Start looking at this at the open. It's 9:03 at this point. Start to look for some pullbacks here for some opportunities. And again, we have these little failure to go hires. There'll be some small intraday plays, but again, I would say today the way to play this is going to be look for the first, the opening base trade for the first hour and a half, and then look at that last hour, see if you can get some movement. Um, Besides that, it's going to be kind of it's like the breeze is blowing. It'll go up and down all day today. So
right, it'll
that's
be
it.
all over the right.
Yeah.
Whichever way the wind is blowing, it's just going to be one of those weeks. It's just going to
Yep.
be one of those weeks. All right.
Yep.
Well, at
Low
least for
volume.
today. With that, any questions for Nadex, please email us customer service at nadex.com. Any questions for Brian, you can catch Brian at support@keeptradingsimple.com. I realize I probably ought to put my email up there at some point too. Um, I'll drop my email in there. I got to remember to update that slide. Uh,
hmm
uh, but beyond that, what did we really talk about today? I mean, it is a bit of a quiet open. Things opened, gapped open a little lower. and trended lower during the European session, but we're seeing everything reverse, looking for green in the equities across the board. Nat gas is where we had a lot of the volatility, and energies. We'll keep an eye on those all week long. Brian and I will catch you again. Uh, oh, you know what? Here, let's. Can you? You know what? I'm going to flip this back to you. Uh, just because I know we don't have a lot of folks, and somebody missed the S&P. So Alan, we're going to hook you up here, and this is what the chat is for. Hey Brian, do you mind just going over
Yep.
the S&P 500 again here real quickly and just back that chart up and take a look at what we got?
Sure.
We'll
Yeah,
review it
Alan,
again one last time.
yeah, I would say, I mean, things to watch out for. I mean, there's a level down here that I can see that we've had 2 hits off of it already, actually 3 technically on that one. So, and then a big racetrack. So, I would say if price is able to rally itself back down, or have it fall back down past 47.1275, look for a short and bring that back down to the psychological number of 4700. That would be a target level down here. The way that it's looking right now on a 15-minute chart, we know if we look to the left, you can see that we had an area up here, which this is a pretty decent, it's a 2-candle top on the 15-minute. We know it's a pretty decent level there. From there, again, nice short, and that was a big, big push to the downside. So that's probably set up probably more of a hiccup than anything else on its way to 47.50. It's going to depend how the media talks this morning. And again, it's going to be, oh my God, everything's closing down for COVID. Or is it going to be positive that, oh, Christmas, this, we're seeing that, again, it's going to kind of depend on how the media is probably swaying it today for the traders that are out there. But I would say there's a little bit of a hiccup. Look for a pullback. And again, this is one of those little kind of hidden levels that I like. If you see this kind of level right in here, if price pulls back to this, it may give us a long opportunity right at the open. And this is what I like to do on the 15 minutes. Look for these levels of basing, see if it pulls back. Don't know if it is or not. We got 2 more candles to go, but it's going to have to pull back down again. Just kind of, again, it's an uptrend. You're looking for a pullback. If it pulls back into a small level, gives us the opportunity to go long. Just be cautious of this 47.38 because, again, we know that sellers have stepped in there in the past.
Stepped in there.
Yeah. Yep. But I think overall we look for targets, up here at, basically sitting right up here. I think 47.50. As long as the message in 20 minutes is the world is ending. If that's not the message, I think we have the ability to hit 47.50 today, and a number of the indices are close. YM's 80 points from 36,000. We're 6 points from 2250 on the Russell. This is close to 47.50. We're 20 points off. 16,500 on the NQ with Apple and Tesla. I mean, everything is showing up currently right now.
It just kind of has that feel about it. So, barring something strange, we're kind of expecting to see a little bit of.
I mean, it's December. Strange could absolutely happen. So
clearly, but the feel is that we're getting an extension of the Santa Claus rally. I hope everyone had a really wonderful Christmas. By the way, if you celebrated Christmas, and enjoy the rest of the holiday season going into the new year. Brian and I will be back again tomorrow morning. With that, I want to wish everyone good luck in the markets. Thanks for joining, everyone. We'll catch you tomorrow.